Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So before we get into the topic of the video, which is a boot camp for Velocity Banking, and every day is a great day for Velocity Banking, I did want to plug in this live stream that we're going to have. So we have a members only live stream once a month, okay? And the topic is going to differ. So the first time I did it, it was about velocity banking. Last month, I did about success in general or thoughts about success. Now, this month is kind of going to be similar, but it's going to be about newbie success. So if you've ever been shy or afraid to do something new for the first time, whether it's velocity banking or just other things in life in general, maybe cooking or something, I'm just going to give you some tips of and my own experience of how to overcome those mental barriers as a newbie and talk about that in tomorrow's live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday, February 26th. So if you ever want to be part of that, just click the join button right here. Only 99 cents a month for YouTube channel members. You get these badges, emojis, as well as access to this live stream and the previous live stream recordings. Okay, so just want to throw that out there. Okay, so let's do our velocity banking, and we have something called Velocity Banking Sunday Boot Camp. And I really was thinking uh, maybe I should have like an in-person event where I charge people like $10,000 to bring their laptop, your budget, make sure you got a line of credit available, and we do all your velocity banking in person, kind of like a weird form of adult sleepover. Just but making sure that you get your finances ordered and charge you $10,000. But luckily, I'm a little bit too lazy to do that, so we're gonna have our Sunday boot camp right here where it's completely free and figure out how to do velocity banking. Okay, so basically, this is just a review of everything we've done before, right? So there are two things that we need in order to do velocity banking. Number one is the budget. I've already done that. So you have your income, your expenses. This person has great savings, over $1,000, right? And the reason why I say it's great is because a lot of Americans can't even come up with a $400 emergency, right? So we have three credit cards, okay, three credit cards, and a $200,000 mortgage. So we're not that much in debt, um, but we got a lot of expenses actually. $2,000. Kind of, I don't know, is that a lot or not? I guess it depends on how many members of the family you have. So and also it depends on your taste as well, right? But we'll just assume $2,000 of expenses. So the mortgage and your general expenses are more than 50% of your income, but you have three credit card debts, and let's go ahead and do this. Let's figure out what the goals are. So we're going to pay 50,000, right? Because that's 50K of credit card debt, and then 200K of mortgage. Okay, so we have our budget. Now we need to have a line of credit as our main operating account. Um, we have three credit cards, but guess what? Maybe we got a home equity line of credit uh, just because, right? And there's a saying that banks only lend you money when you don't need it. So a lot of people, what happens is like they get into issues with debt, and they think, oh my goodness, now I need a home equity line of credit for Velocity Banking. Guess what? The bank's probably not going to let you have one because banks don't lend money to people who need them, right? But let's just assume we have access to a home equity line of credit. That's going to be our main operating account. So you might be asking a few questions. Number one, what's a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you can borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. That's a line of credit. And a home equity line of credit is kind of like a credit card based on the value of your home. Okay. Now let's assume that we have access to a $60,000 home equity line of credit. Okay. $60,000. Now, here's two things that we assume when we do velocity banking. Same income, although more income is great, but we just, for demonstration purposes, we just say same income and we have zero savings. Now, people would freak out about this zero savings because, everybody says you got to have savings account, 3 to 6 months of savings. Why would I need 3 to 6 months of savings if I have debt, right? Because if I'm putting in a savings account and it's gaining like 0.001% interest, and I know there are other savings accounts where it's like, I've seen it in like Discover and I think Amex too. I'm not sure where it's like 4%. But here's the thing: if I have a 39% interest on my credit card, and even 4% on savings, I'm getting rid of these high interest rates, debts, right? So I want to make sure that we get rid of them, okay? And so I don't need savings because here's the thing. We're going to put it, and this is the actual velocity banking strategy: paycheck into line of credit, expenses out, and then rinse and repeat over and over again. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do this and figure out how we can re-engineer our finances to maximize our cash flow, right? So to calculate the cash flow, it's just income minus expenses, but no savings, right? Because that cash flow is going to be used to push down our debt. And here's the thing, right? What's an easy way to increase that cash flow? Just simply move these three debts into the line of credit, right? So if I do 0, 0, 0, bam, this number went from 1,300 to 2,800 magically without doing anything, right? So now but we got a $50,000 balance on our line of credit, and a lot of people are freaking out about this. But hey, you know what? What we're doing is maximizing our cash flow, so this should be no problem. So this is what we're do. This is going to be I2 plus 1. Calculate the next month, and then calculate the next month's balance, which is G2 plus H2 minus, and H2 is the interest. Now, month 0, when we're doing this, we're not going to have interest until we get the first month statement, minus our cash flow, which is 2,800. Okay, so 2,800 is our cash flow. Now, here's the thing: after every month, we got to calculate the interest, so we're going to estimate it by using this average function right here, and then the interest is the average daily balance, so multiply by 0.1, which is the interest rate of a home equity line of credit, divided by 12, which is the monthly interest, right? Because the interest is always quoted annually. And now all we got to do is copy and paste this, right? Copy and paste this formula. And guess what? On month 20, let's go ahead and highlight that, right? Month 20, we paid this thing off, right? So let's just go ahead and write a milestone right here. We paid off 20 months of, what is it, $45,000? No, $50,000 of debt, 50K of debt, right? So it's these three credit cards. Oh my goodness, that was so simple, right? I literally just kind of, you remember those commercials in the 90s where you put the chicken roast in the in the oven and they just said set it and forget it? That's all I got to do, because what I do, I just put my entire paycheck into that line of credit and then take my expenses out, right? That's all I'm doing. That's literally all I'm doing, and I'm not even thinking about it. And I got $50,000 of debt, and it's like paid off under 2 months, because 24 months is under 2 months. Okay, really easy. Okay, now at this time we got the mortgage, right? So you have two choices. One, this 2,800, which could just go into your savings account, um, you could put it directly from your savings into the mortgage. Now, let me tell you statistically what happens with most people's mortgages, 30-year mortgages. That 30-year mortgage should at least pay it off in 30 years or earlier, right? But the average 30-year mortgage usually turns into a 52-year mortgage because of refinancing or selling your home, okay? And so one of the reasons, and this is why I say this is like the main reason I think if six-figure people are paycheck to paycheck, this is one of the reasons why they're broke. Okay. Something called segregation of income, right? If you don't, if your money comes into your checking account and split up in many different places, right? That causes a problem, and you're effectively making minimum payments on every single debt that you have. And that's why six-figure people are paycheck to paycheck. Now, at this stage, it's not going to be a big deal. So you could put this 2,800 into the mortgage directly and overpay it. But one main disadvantage of that is that if you overpay a loan, you can't call the loan company and say, "Hey, I overpaid this by 2,800. Can I please get my money back?" They're going to say no, because that's how loans are, right? Like there's a reason why they have lower interest rates. Essentially, you can think of the lower interest rate to discourage you from overpaying the loan, because the loan is a one-way street. Hope that makes sense. The second main disadvantage of putting your entire, let's say leftover savings into that mortgage is, let's say, oh, okay, we'll use your credit card as a backup, then that's essentially creating an extra payment, thus leading to segregation of income, right? And a lot of people don't take this concept seriously. Okay, having an extra payment is a reason. At first it seems innocuous, then it leads to another extra payment, or extra. Not extra payment is like overpaying, like another debt that you have to pay, and then every time you have another debt that you have to pay, guess what? Somehow you're paycheck to paycheck. And I know that seems like a slippery slope, but that's what happens, and that's why a lot of Americans cannot pay their 30-year mortgage off in 30 years, right? So what we want to do is figure out an easy way where we're essentially paying this 2,800, but we're still putting our income into one place, which is like the whole point of velocity banking. Okay, so let's just do this. After 20 months, let's figure out what the mortgage balance is. Okay, and we could just go to calculator.net. So calculator.net loan amortization, right? Just type that in. And then what you're going to do is type $200,000, 30 years, 6%, and then look for month 20. So month 20, it's going to be 195. Okay, 195. Now, whoopsie, let's do this. Now, let me ask you this, okay? How long do you think it will take to pay from 195 to 185? Let's say $10,000 of this debt. How long do you think it'll take to pay it off? Now we can actually go here and figure out how long it would take to go from 195 to 185, right? So 195, this is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about 5 months, a year, 1 year and 5 months, 2 years, 3 years. So 3 years, so 3 years and 5 months, right? So about almost 3.5 years. Okay. So one of the ways that we can kind of estimate um, how long will it take to pay off basically $10,000, right? 195, 185. Again, just move it into the line of credit and see what your cash flow is at this time. So again, since this loan isn't paid off, then all we got to do is just use the same cash flow, but let's add $10,000. Okay. All right. So now we paid it off in 3 months. Isn't that insane? So this $10,000, if we went to according to the bank schedule, right, which is how people do it because they see their monthly mortgage payment as just almost kind of like a rent to the bank. It was almost going to take us 3.5 years, and we would have paid all this interest in that 3.5 years. I mean, take a look at this, right? Look at the interest versus the principal, which is the actual balance of the loan. You pay so much more interest in the first couple of years, and it was going to take you 3 years. Whereas when we did it this way, right? It only took us 3 months. And it was easy. Okay. Now we can just simply use our velocity banking cheat sheet calculator to do this, and it's relatively easy. Okay. So basically, there's a cheat sheet calculator provided by Renatus. I'm affiliated with Renatus, or independent contracted marketer. That's what they call us. But basically, I sell their products. I get a little bit of commission, and I try to build communities as well. So that's kind of a thing with this. But basically, they're an educational company. They have communities all over the nation. I'm part of one here in Atlanta, and they have this cool calculator for velocity banking, right? So let me go ahead and use that right here. Oopsie. I just got to fill in the numbers here. So this is going to be 200,000. This one's going to be 19. Let me rewrite this. 195,82304. Okay. All right. All right. So now, what's the interest rate? 30 years, and this one's going to be 1199.1. 1199.1, and then I just type in the information. So 10%. You could just use a chunk amount of, relatively low. We'll just say 6,000, right? And then $6,000 is your income, and then you put in your expenses, which is everything except the loan you're trying to pay off, right? So this would just be 2,000 because we're trying to pay this off. And again, we're estimating it's 1,200, but when we're doing this, we're being a little bit more exact because it's almost 1,200. All right, so let's just do $2,000. All right, now take a look at this. This is going to take us 4.8 years, right? 4.8 years. Crazy, right? And look at all the interest that we potentially may not pay. So, according to the 30-year mortgage amortization schedule, if you ever see a 6% loan, just be aware that essentially the amount of interest you pay is about like 100. I think it's 115%, right? So you take a look here, and then you type in, 6, and then you look at the interest. It the loan amount is actually $200,000, but the interest is more than the loan amount, right? That's more than 100% interest. Okay, so that's why we definitely want to pay off our loans quickly as possible, the 30-year mortgage as quickly as possible. But realize there's an order to it, right? Like you usually in every single video that I've done, the mortgage is the one that you pay off last. Okay, so all right, 4.8 years. Okay, so how much do we pay off? So it's 20 months. So what's 20 divided by 12? Equals 20 divided by 12, 1.6 plus 4.8. So we'll say 6.5 months. So 6 years, 6.5 years, I'm sorry. And how much debt, which is 250K of debt. All right. Okay. Well then, awesome. Shall I call you Velocity Banking, private soldier? I don't know. I've never been in the military, so but even though I've never been in the military, congratulations on I guess successfully passing Velocity Banking Sunday boot camp, soldier. Maybe I got to come up with like titles and stuff like Velocity Banking graduate, Velocity Banking sensei, Velocity Banking super soldier, and maybe the equivalent of that would be like Velocity Banking Captain America, if you get my drift. I hope that makes sense. If not, just celebrate that we paid $250,000 of debt in 6.5 years. Woohoo! Let's draw, right? Let's draw. Um, let's do this. Celebrate, and then we could put in that music if I wasn't too concerned about, you know, Google copyright, YouTube claims. Celebrate. Good times. Come on. Okay, so let's go ahead and erase this. Celebration. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Again, live stream tomorrow. I'm just going to plug it in. Go ahead and click join, 99 cents a month. You get access to these emojis and the live stream and previous recordings. All right, everybody, have a great day, and we will speak next time.